when you guys were outside, I put a card around the table and it looks like this. Everybody has one. Okay, so this is not our disc activity. This is something very different. But let me tell you a little story about these cards. A very dear friend of mine, Diane Allen, and I sat down in her living room one afternoon and we developed a set of questions. She and I are both firm believers in the fact that we as human beings lose sight of what matters most, because we get so lost in the day-to-day and everything that's going on around us and the chaos that we live in, that we lose sight of what matters. And usually it takes some kind of crisis or some kind of terrible thing to happen in our lives before we really sit back and reflect on, where am I? And am I in the right place? And is this really where I want to be? So she and I both agree that if we asked ourselves better questions, we would generate a better life. But I wanted to share that with you, and I want you to go around the room, and each one of you has a different question, and I didn't really select them per person. I just grabbed a bunch of questions, and I'll share the one that I picked for myself. And it says, what am I worth? Now, that sounds like an awful question, doesn't it? It's a hard question, what am I worth? And I can remember in my 20s asking myself that question, what am I worth? And later in my 40s, asking myself that same question because I was at a different place in my life. So in today's world, what am I worth? It's every experience that I have lived and lived through that I can share with other people. And to me, that is completely priceless, because I wouldn't change a thing. Even though there were so many challenges, when I sit back and think about it, how did I ever make it through that? And the value of learning those lessons and being able to share them to other people. So that's, when I look at that question, what am I worth? It's priceless. It really is priceless. So who wants to go first?
Just a few minutes ago, we spent time doing an exercise that Carole Gill created to help bring about better self-reflection so that we could show up and be a better self in the world to make a difference, not only in our lives, but in other people's lives.
We've really been able to look inward at ourselves and see who we are and see areas that we may like about ourselves and areas that we may not like about ourselves or where we need to improve.
For me, it allowed me to open up in a deeper way than I had yet. And it also led me to reflect on the fact that I don't think I'm asking enough questions.
And my question happened to be, who's influencing you? And there's an easy churchy answer, and it's Jesus Christ is my influence. But I began to think about my circle when I read that card. Who's around me? Who's my influence? Who am I influencing by who I'm being influenced by? And so if there's anything I could tell you about these cards, make the investment. It's a very small investment. I plan to make it after today's session. But I really believe that these cards can provoke you to think better. And if we think better, we live better. And if we ask better questions, we'll have a better life.